Yeah, this is the natural next step, right? When Nick Cage was on his roll, the holy trinity of Nicolas Cage movies, which I imagine is different depending on some people, but for me, The Rock is part of it. Actually, maybe The Rock should have been first. I don't know. I'm just winging it here. What can I say? There's no real roadmap. I'm just wandering. Anyhow, let's review Michael Bay's best movie. Like, by far, by a clear mile. Let's do it.
Welcome to The Rock.
So The Rock was directed by Michael Bay, another mid-90s Nicolas Cage action movie. This is, Michael Bay came out swinging. I mean, it's not like this was his first movie. Still, I find The Rock so enjoyable that I either thought one of two things. One, I liked The Rock back in the day, and then if I rewatched it now, I probably wouldn't like it. Or two, the Michael Bay that directed this was abducted by aliens, and they replaced Michael Bay with a Michael Bay alien robot who does Michael Bay movies now. I mean, not that they're all terrible. Some of them have fun in them. I'm just saying, it just feels very different. So in The Rock, Ed Harris plays General Hummel, and he's taking the tourists on Alcatraz hostage. Then there's a ransom demand, then a group of Navy SEALs, and a chemical freak.
I'm a chemical super freak, actually.
Okay, fair enough. A team of Navy SEAls and a chemical super freak, and Sean Connery, because he has a unique knowledge of that place. He was formerly a guest here. They have to infiltrate Alcatraz, and then
an incursion underwater to retake an impregnable fortress held by an elite team of U.S. Marines in possession of 81 hostages and 15 guided rockets armed with VX poison gas.
Better than any breakdown I could possibly give. And so, yeah, now, welcome to The Rock. All right, so what I like about this movie, first of all, Nicolas Cage and Sean Connery, they just weirdly work for me. I mean, it's not like Sean Connery and Harrison Ford type chemistry, but still their dynamic really works. They're a senior citizen and a lab rat, and really it's all on their shoulders to get the job done. I don't know if that's perfect or so weird that it somehow became perfect, but it's perfect. I love how badass Sean Connery is and just how nerdy Nicolas Cage is. I love the banter between the two. Sometimes Sean Connery's just kind of an asshole. Sometimes she's just busting Nicolas Cage's balls. Point is, I thought the banter was good.
The feet thing?
Yeah, the feet thing.
Yeah, it happens.
I'm having kind of a hard time concentrating. Can you do something about it?
Like what? Kill him again?
But the scene stealer, folks, this is the thing, the person that really makes the movie for me. It's Ed Harris as General Hummel. This is a very humanized villain to the point where he's like an anti-hero. He's Big Boss or something? That might not be the last Metal Gear reference I give in here. But The Rock came out when Ed Harris was generally America's good guy. You know, he's always the good guy. Granted, Ed Harris has played scumbags since The Rock. When The Rock came out, I remember the whole thing like, whoa, they're making our good guys bad guys. But this particular bad guy, he's a bad guy. That doesn't mean he is bad guy. You can tell he's a conflicted person. The entire point of why he's doing this is because there were soldiers who died under his command. And he just wants the families to be paid up for these soldiers that the Pentagon just kind of brushed aside, swept under the rug, and forgot about. First of all, that's something that's just easy to get behind. He's the antagonist in the movie who's honorable. There's an honor to the man. He respects the lives of his soldiers and actually the lives of the opposing soldiers. He's not bloodthirsty. He's doing what he feels he needs to do, be it the wrong thing for the right reasons.
You made a terrible mistake, and more of our brothers have died in vain. Damn you for forcing me into this position.
And you're able to understand it because even he's conflicted by it. He's not like, oh yeah, I'm really gonna enjoy firing these rockets into the city. The fact that he is an honorable person leads to dissension among the ranks and leads to some people questioning his authority. It's really complex shit. These are the moments I love in The Rock. You're talking about this movie and I think of The Rock. I love these moments in you, man. Sounds weird. Arguably my favorite moments in the entire movie. Well, first of all, one that does have a shootout, and that's the shower sequence. That scene is all sorts of tension, but also great monologuing.
You're down there! We're up here! You walked into the wrong goddamn room, Commander! Goddamn it, Commander, one last time. You tell your men to safety their weapons, drop them on the deck.
I cannot give that order!
I am not gonna repeat that order!
I will not give that
What
order!
the hell is wrong with you, man?
Stand fast!
I am pretty sure that's him on the box art of the original Metal Gear game, but also that scene where John Mason and Frank Hummel just talk. I mean, granted, there's a hostage situation going on there, but it's just dialogue.
I don't quite see how you cherish the memory of the dead by killing another million.
That is good shit. And you see the war of their ideology and their philosophy.
Tree of Liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants. Thomas Jefferson.
Patriotism is the virtue of the vicious, according to Oscar Wilde.
Just a couple of great actors playing a couple of compelling characters talking with each other. It's just an amazing scene, and it has nothing to do with action. It's all I need in my Michael Bay action movies, I guess. All right, now the other side of the coin of this movie is, yeah, it's a Michael Bay movie, so you're gonna have action. You're gonna have action sequences where most people probably would have just gone from point A to point B, and Michael Bay's like, wait a minute, Sean Connery's gonna have a nice conversation with his estranged daughter. Yeah. Which means he has to drive there. Yeah. Which means we can make an action sequence there. Make the drive a chase sequence. All right. Well, it looks like San Francisco's about to get bayed. And I bring this up because a movie about a group who has to infiltrate Alcatraz because of a hostage situation and, you know, take out the guidance chips on the rockets. You don't really start going to Alcatraz for that until about an hour into the movie. There is something that drags on in this movie, and that's the common denominator. Every Michael Bay movie ever that I have seen in the history of ever has that common denominator. They're all just a bit too long because they drag at some point in the movie. In the case of The Rock, it's somewhere in the first half of the movie. I feel like some of these scenes could have been shaved off. I like the setup with Sean Connery. I like all of that, and for the most part, it makes sense. I just don't think there had to be an action sequence there. Could have dangled the dude over the roof. They'd been like, peace, and Nicolas Cage could have been like, hey buddy, where's his next of kin? Great, and then just met up there. That whole action sequence could just be taken out. Even that super intense scene near the beginning of the movie, it does make sense. Nicolas Cage is at his job and there's this chemical bomb. All right, they need to defuse it. But it serves to show how good Nicolas Cage is at his job. But more importantly, serves to show you what the syringes do. I mean, they mention them in passing when they're going to Alcatraz, but in this case, you really get how important those syringes are. But the most important part of the setup, the part that changed my life.
First of all, it's because I'm a Beatlemaniac. And second, these sound better.
That was a scene I was like, wait, Dad, is that true? My dad was like, yes. I actually have that album. Not the first pressing or anything, but you know.
You have to start somewhere.
Ah, screw it. My hair wants to do it. Let's just do it. You been asking for it, right? Lots of guns. So in the end, The Rock has the action Michael Bayisms, and sometimes, especially leading up to all the Alcatraz stuff, it goes a bit much in some parts. It's like all the action's going down and we're not even at The Rock yet. But it's Sean Connery, Nicolas Cage, and Ed Harris. The three of them, they make the movie for me. The compelling dynamic of the decorated war hero that's going against the country he's served for the sake of the memory of his fallen troops and their families. A former British operative who was just locked away and they threw away the key, who's the only one who really knows how to navigate Alcatraz because he's the only one who ever successfully escaped. And a lab nerd played by Nicolas Cage, which it's like he was like, look, I've been a lab nerd. Let me do something else. All right, Nicolas Cage. You work out, grow your hair, we got a role for you. It all just really worked for me, and I'm glad that watching it today, it's still good. It remains Michael Bay's best movie, and still a great time, worth watching, and worth buying on Blu-ray. All right, so The Rock, have you watched it? Have you watched it recently? What do you think about it? Whatever you think, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.